The artist of that music is Amanda Rheume, Rheaume, Amanda Rheume. And she is with, or I beg your pardon? What, Jim? You can't hear him?
Really low.
All right. Let me change that. Let's get out of this. Too many buttons. Actually, hello, how about that? All right. So it's Amanda Rheume, Rheaume. And she's with the Babes No. 4 Breasts Collective. Babes for Breasts Collective. Or maybe she is that. I don't know. That's all they give me on Apple Music. So good morning. It is, hang on, the 15th. It's the Ides of February. Hello. I just got a text from Melanie Moon, who will not be joining us because her power is out. And there are big regions of Portland that has no power this morning, not surprisingly. It is melting here in the southwest. It's raining. But the roads are pretty bad still. Well, I'm very glad to be with you this morning. It's a delight and strengthening to see you. I have a short poem. Short but potent. Jack McCarthy. When you were talking about the straitjacket, I had a flash. I was in one and a great magician. Houdini, maybe, or maybe God, disguised as Houdini, was about to teach me to escape. I knew with utter certainty that his first word would be, relax. When you were talking about the straitjacket, I had a flash. I was in one, and a great magician. Houdini, maybe, or maybe God, disguised as Houdini, was about to teach me to escape. I knew with utter certainty that his first word would be, relax. So let us approach our practice this morning with great ease and simplicity and no violence and no coercion. Maybe turn this off. All right. Well, let's see if this will work anyway. I don't know if it'll come through the microphone, but it'll be all right. So, refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. It just occurred to me that to really understand refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha is probably tantamount to being awakened. I take refuge in the universe that is awake. I take refuge in the Dharma. I take refuge in the Sangha, in the community of practice. I take refuge in the Buddha, the one who shows me the way in this life. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya. I take refuge in the Dharma, the way of understanding and love. Namo Dharmaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Dharmaya. I take refuge in the Sangha, the community of mindful harmony. Namo Sangaya, Namo Sangaya, Namo Sangaya. Taking refuge, taking refuge in the Dharma is a bit like acknowledging science. Things exist. There are relationships between things. Gravity functions when two objects with mass are in each other's vicinity. Force equals mass times acceleration. There's some basic rules, the way things work, including the law of karma. Actions have results. So to take refuge in the Dharma means to take refuge in reality. And one reality is that this morning, now, the sun is coming up. There's light outside. My blinds are all pulled, but I can see a little crack of light. By inference and memory, I know that the days are getting longer. A little brighter today than it was a week or two ago. The first word of Houdini, or God disguised as Houdini. Relax. So sitting comfortably upright, let's relax. And when you relax, what do you notice? The body is alive, and it speaks of its aliveness. It sings of its aliveness. It is It is life. And it's possible to notice the beginning of a breath. Relax. Notice how awareness is spontaneous. And there's no need to work at breathing. The body breathes really all by itself. There will likely be wandering minds. And they wander all by themselves, spontaneously. It's in the nature of mind to do this. So resting here in the present moment, noticing how thoughts happen, noticing how the 5 hindrances are visitors. That mind that wants something. The mind that has the opposite of that doesn't want something that exists. The mind which is restless and agitated and worried, jumping around. Or the mind that is sleepy and dull. Then there's doubt. And it's not just doubt as curiosity, it's doubt about, is this worth doing, or can I do this? And there is an effortless effort, an intention. My intention is to stay present. Our intention is to be profoundly intimate with the experience of being alive, intimate with the sensations of this breath. In this relaxed, spacious awareness, it can be known, is the mind concentrated at this point? Is this an instance in which staying with the breath is very easy, effortless perhaps? Or is this a moment in which the discursive, the entropy forces of mind are at play, and there isn't much concentration at all? Is this a moment when there is deep confidence, certainty about the Dharma, or almost certainty? Or is this a moment when the practice is something that you do because you've committed to doing it and you're willing to accept whatever arises? And the breath. The breath comes and goes. There is what seems to be a paradox with the intention: come home to the breath whenever you can. Become very intimate with the breath. And simultaneously, be completely accepting of whatever arises. So if there's restlessness and agitation, and the breath is a distant fantasy almost, then we accept restlessness and agitation. That is refuge in the Dharma. If there's irritability, anger, hatred, jealousy, fear, loneliness, experiencing them fully in the light of mindfulness, in the heart of compassion. There is a beautiful teaching from Ajahn Chah. It says simply, when you wish to bring your practice into perfect balance, at any moment, just remember these words. It's like this. This moment is like this. It is as it is. Noticing that at times mindfulness is bright. Knowing of the hindrances or breathing, the sensations of breathing is very obvious. And then there are periods of absence, perhaps wandering mind, fantasies, stories of the past, concerns about the future. And just places of great blankness. And then mindfulness. Could anything be more interesting? There are several synonyms for relaxing into practice. One would be, I aspire to love and accept myself exactly as I am in this moment. And when I'm hurting, no matter how I'm hurting, if I discover that there's pain in the body, or emotional pain, existential pain, subtle pain, gross pain, it is my intention to hold myself in sweet compassion. To relax into the moment. This moment now, which is like this. just like it is. Each breath has its beginning. It has its rising to fullness. It has its decline. And it has its ending. This wakefulness, this presence, this curiosity about what is happening in the mind, in the body, is something we can carry with us all day. You can form an intention to do that, to plan on that, to make a vow even. And then to notice through the day how maybe you're driving the car and suddenly you realize that you've awakened to the fact of driving or seeing or hands on the wheel. Or perhaps you're sitting at the computer and pause for a breath or two and realize that your posture is really crumpled and you can sit up straighter. Then you can take a few moments to notice what's the attitude toward whatever it is that you're writing or working on. Is there pleasure? Is there resentment? Is there anxiety? Every single activity is appropriate for mindfulness. And for the observing of the coming and going of mindfulness. It exists and then it ceases to exist. And in this moment, please notice the life of the body. Notice temperatures. Warm, cold, the fire element. bringing awareness into the pressure of the body against the cushion or the chair, into the life of the hands, into the breath coming and going, into the throat, the neck. Notice the life of the face, the lips. Maybe let your tongue lick your lips. Huge sensations. Great amount of brain tissue is devoted to tongue and lips. Notice if you can differentiate the sensation in the tongue from the sensation in the lips. Contact. And now awareness, please, into the cheeks and the eyes. The eyes. And the eyes are, with the eyelids closed, by definition, not seeing. But now let us form the intention to let the eyes open. Takes some effort, doesn't it? Intention and then operationalizing. And is it a relief to be coming to the end of sitting practice, or is there some clinging to it? And then letting the eyes open. And noticing how seeing happens. Seeing. Seeing. Seeing and knowing it. And then in this particular seeing, there's people with whom there's quite a lot of associations. I like to look from one beautiful face to another and think a kind thought. And when you do that, realize that at this moment there probably is someone looking at you and seeing you and wishing you something like, hope you're safe today. Hope your heart is light. May you bear well whatever dukkha comes your way today. May you find the inspiration to put on some music and dance. I can't forget where it was on here. Someone said to me recently, and it made so much sense. It was, come on, mind. Oh, dancing for joy. And one way to look at it is, I'm so joyful, I want to dance. Another way to look at it is, if I want to be joyful, I could dance as a practice. And then you face up to it's like, oh God, I don't want to do this. And then 5 or 10 minutes later, the little endorphins kick in. It's like, oh, this is great. I think I'll do some more. So dancing for joy. Or having breakfast for joy, or... So I have a few little announcements. One is the usual one. Please, if you want to, take a trip to the chat box and you will find there some links. You will find a link for making contributions to PIMC to keep everything running. You'll find something from my weekend retreat that's coming up at the end of the month. You'll find Candle Summers, 2 Sunday nights a month there. Oh, and her, I want to show you this because I think it's such a catchy title. Hang on here. Did it come up? No. Oh, there it is. Fabulous, Fierce Females. I love it. Cancel that. Cancel. Anyway, that's happening starting March the 5th, so that's coming up. And Jim, you're doing, is it this Saturday at Qigong?
Yes, sir. And everyone's invited to do some mindful movement from 9 o'clock until 2 o'clock on Saturday. We tucked in here in our Zoom studio, ready to go at 9 o'clock Saturday. And you can register at portlandinsight.org, and that helps prepare the electronics so we know what kind of group we've got. Thank you.
So that's it for me. What's up with you? Any continuation of something we've spoken about before, or a new discovery, or a complaint about the nature of reality? I can't quite read the inscription, Russ. Is that your new MAGA hat? You're muted, of course. Best if we keep it that way, I suppose. Right. Speak no evil. Mm-hmm. Ah, so nice to be here with you. Hello, Denise.
Hello. Um, I guess I will just say, um, talking about the dancing for joy. Similarly, you talk about just putting a small smile on your face when you're meditating. And recently, I've been just having a really hard time meditating. And as I was meditating the other day, I was like, okay, just put a smile on my face. And I was like stamping my foot in my head, just like, I don't want to put a smile on my face. This is stupid. And and I mean, just I watched it all happen in my head. Thankfully, I wasn't just like living those thoughts, but it was so stupid that I was so mad that I didn't even want to put a smile on my face. And I don't know. I guess yeah, that's just where I'm at right now.
And these things like put a smile on your face, they're strategies. It's experiments to see. But I think that I'm rather fond of that pouting Denise. she's she's got some pizzazz, doesn't she? You can't make me. Yeah.
When I was a kid, one of the first things I said was, "I'll do it me own."
I'll do it me own. Cool. Yeah, it's a pretty strong force in us. I know watching my grandsons, poof, I'll put on my own shoes, even though I can't. Thanks, Denise. How's the farm?
The farm is without power and full of branches and trees down, and my car got smashed.
Oh,
Um, yeah, so it's kind of crazy right now at the farm, but we've got three little babies that are getting bottle fed that are just so much fun to go out there and take
mm,
care of them. But I'm spending a day or two in town so that I can have internet and work too.
mm-hmm. I'm glad you have both places. That's good. Can be nice and warm.
Good morning, Sangha. This is Rebecca.
Hello, Rebecca.
Hello. I've been thinking a lot too of the many tens of thousands of people down the valley in Clackamas and Marion County who are, and probably other places, who are without power and will likely be so for a few more days.
Whoa.
Just the intensity of that. I have a lot of family in that area, and as I sit here in my warmth, thinking how pretty the ice is on the branches outside my window, and there's people who are struggling, and they yesterday some of my brother and sister-in-law, they drove like 20 miles just to get water, and like in Canby, everything is completely closed down. You can't get gasoline or anything, and so it's amazing how um, you can be thrown into these widespread struggling situations, that you don't anticipate happening. So anyway, just remember them today, and hopefully they'll get their power back soon.
Thank you. Certainly is a macro lesson in anicca and dukkha. I mean, we're supposed to have power, damn it.
Yeah. Yeah, when is it my turn?
Mm-hmm.
I'll, I'll say one more thing. During that ice storm in the night when the trees were falling, it was definitely some lessons in like impermanence, but like being present and like not freaking out, because I mean, like, our house really did get smashed, and like trees fell on the house and bounced off, and my car did get broken. And so thinking just about, like, I don't know, just hearing the branches fall, and yeah, there's lots of impermanence, yeah, and just so much power too.
Yeah. One of our neighbors had a tree about 2 feet, maybe a little bigger than that, come through their roof. It broke the spine of the roof, the top of the roof. It didn't affect down into the living area, but it blew in their attic. It was quite quite unsettling to see it. You never know, do you? I just noticed the connection being made internally between experiencing anicca deeply, experiencing impermanence deeply, and the fact of compassion. Because in a few heartbeats, I could be the one in the ambulance, or with my house crashed in, or with the really big one, the big earthquake that they predict for our neighborhood here. And so that it makes it much more easy to empathize with people really all around the planet, that the fantasies that I have that could never happen to me are really utterly untrue. What's that line in the Paul Simon song? Someone could walk into this room and say your life is on fire. It's all over the evening news. So I think it breeds kindness. It can breed, of course, turning away and not paying attention, and I don't want to see that poor person or whatever. But on the other hand, it can really turn toward opening up and realizing, whoa, that's me over there. That's me. I'll share this. You remember Sarajevo? Sad. There was a city, really, in a way, a Western European city that hosted the Olympics, and then it turned into a civil war, and then there were snipers, and it was horrible. And I had a very insightful moment. I had little children then. And there was a bus full of children that they were taking out of Sarajevo. And it really affected me deeply. And it also pointed out some of my previously unconscious racist perspective, which was that I'd seen buses full of children before, but not little white children. And it blew my socks off. It was like, whoa. That there was a way I had been able to insulate myself somehow. But then they looked like my kids. And it really got me. It got me for two things. One was that unconscious racist insulation. But the other was, wow. So, compassion and insight are pretty important things for helping us to realize our interbeing with everybody.
Hey, Robert, I'd like to add a comment to what you just said.
Yeah.
That when I contemplate others' suffering and how easily that could be me, it does increase compassion for me. And I'm very aware that there's more to come for me. But the important part to me is to remember to balance that with, and in this moment, that's not true.
Mm-hmm.
In this moment, I'm warm and dry and gathered with my friends to meditate and feeling the gratitude I do for every one of these moments. Because otherwise, I can get lost in anticipating all the awfuls that could happen and so forth. Because I do have a very well-developed, worry mind.
Thank you, Russell.
Robert, it's Sky.
Hello, Sky.
I kind of want to piggyback on Russ's comment. I find that sometimes when I am feeling warm and dry and safe and there's nothing in my world that's bothering me, I'm in a good place, I remember to be grateful. So sometimes there's some guilt that comes associated with why me?
Uh-huh.
Why am I so lucky when all these other people are suffering? And then I realize that guilt is kind of, it's a waste, or it's a
Yeah.
it's a sin in the term of missing the mark, and that it is okay for me to be warm and safe and at peace and in comfort, and that in the whole global unity of the cosmic connectedness of mankind, there has to be spaces of quiet, that the entire, if everything was in chaos, it would be so unbalanced. And that I just happen to be fortunate that I'm in a peaceful, quiet, safe situation. And to honor that and be grateful for that without the tinge of guilt. And that it's okay for us to be safe. That doesn't diminish that it's maybe not okay for others to be unsafe, but I don't need to add to the suffering of the world by having this guilt that I put upon myself.
Well said.
Thank you. I'm working on it.
Something just landed on my roof.
Something.
Hi, Tim.
A little something on that. Hi.
Yeah.
Something I use kind of like that is think of it as being a dinner guest, a guest of dinner, and your host puts a plate of food in front of you. On the proper way to behave then is to go, thank you, that's lovely, and eat it up and say, thank you, that was great. And not complicate it. You don't say, that's pretty good, but it could use a little more salt. I mean, you can, but that's not it's not really the right way to be a dinner guest. There's kind of something in there that relates.
Yeah. Maybe it would be useful to remember this moment is like this. That's what it's like at this moment. Which then, of course, could include the guilt. If that psychological pattern was running, so what? It's just, oh, there's the guilt pattern. Thank you for sharing.
Good morning, Robert.
Eric, hi, Christopher. Hello to both of you.
When you said your life could be on fire and it's all over the evening news,
Yeah.
it reminded me last night we were talking to Chris's dad, who a few months ago his life was on fire and it was on the news. All of us saw the fires. And
Right.
him and everybody in his neighborhood still doesn't have homes, and they're just in the snow and with and without power. And that's just something to keep in our heart, is like all of those people that lost their homes this summer still don't have them, and it's winter now. And so there are organizations in Salem where like his stepmom is working that are like still giving food and aid to people, and so you guys can look online or whatever, there's that. But mostly I was just saying to keep it in our hearts too, that it's crazy. It was one day he had a house that had been in his family for 5 generations, and then now he's living in a trailer, you know? So it's just something to keep in our hearts. It just, when you said that it just reminded me of that conversation last night. So.
Yeah, thank you. Well, friends, shall we head off into our next adventures, or is there something else someone would like to share? So let's sing our little song. A little lightening of the heart. Please unmute if you wish. May all beings be happy. May all beings be happy. May all beings be happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Well, happy trails, friends. Take care, and I'll see you tomorrow, perhaps.
Robert, you will be well, everyone.
Be safe if you're driving.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Goodbye, dear friends, on